Hello, and welcome to Hanging on Monday Night. I am your host, Brian. We have
Brian.
Eric from Woburn, Mass.
Hello.
We have Kevin from Ohio. We have Buddy, future resident of Walworth County, Wisconsin. You'll love it there. I'm telling you, that is.
Brooke.
It should be like a billboard of you, there. But it's
Oh,
not.
that's funny.
It's Walworth County. You'll love it. Jay from Temecula tonight, formerly of Boston, which is where John's coming from, Boston John, and Damon of Dearborn, Michigan, Detroit. Dearborn.
Everybody say hi, Damon.
Dearborn's cooler than Detroit. It's kind of cool. So they make Fords. So tonight's topic, we're going to do multiple topics. I think at the end of the show we might talk a little bit about karaoke, but what I want to talk about at the top of the hour, I did a epic video today and it's still uploading. When I say epic, I don't mean it was amazing. I mean, it's long. That's really, if you look up epic, that's what it really means. Don't tell the British people that, but that's what epic actually is. So I talked about a lot of things in that video. And the one thing I didn't talk about, and I wish I would have, I almost want to go back and do a separate video on it, is on social media or otherwise, we have haters, right? Everybody got a hater. Some have more than others.
Yeah, my wife.
Yeah, mine too. But there's also this thing called constructive criticism. And I think sometimes we may have difficulty sorting out which is which. I don't like to dwell on hate comments, personally. But sometimes I will see them and I'll dismiss them as hate. And again, I don't want to dwell on it, but maybe I'll come back around and say, yeah, maybe they had a point.
All right.
Maybe they didn't express it in a tactful way, but maybe it's actually a constructive criticism on what I'm doing. And I should take it into consideration. Anybody got any thoughts on that?
Well, I'll start.
Yeah.
Like when you do get something like that, and sometimes it's while you're live at a gig even.
Yeah.
Mine on social media. And it's like, your first reaction is, well, I've been doing this all these years, and what? You
Right.
know?
You're right.
And then they walk away, and then you think about it like you just said, like, you know what? You probably got a point, and you know what? I'm crazy enough to try what this person suggested, or, for the most part, or maybe not that night.
Sometimes
I don't want him to come up and say, I told you so. I don't need that on top of me feeling bad, but, no, I see what you're saying.
I think a really good example of that at a gig would be when that one person walks up to you and says, no one's dancing, play this instead, everyone will like it. And in the meantime, your dance floor is completely packed.
Right.
That's kind of a hater, somebody who just wants their way.
Right.
But, oh my God, turn it down. It's too loud. That sounds terrible. Oh, shut up. It's fine. Maybe it does sound terrible.
Give me an hour. It's going to get louder. Trust me.
Yes, you know what I mean?
It depends on the way they approach you, I think. If I can jump in here.
Sure.
I mean, if that's their icebreaker, if they come up, I don't like your setup, you should change it. And they don't give you anything, then it's just a hate comment. It's like it's jealousy or it's
incomplete anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you need more information. Or if they're like, I don't like this song, this would be a better song. It's a conversation versus this stinks. Can you change it next? Can you change it now?
Right.
That's
not
saying,
constructive. You're absolutely right.
I'm taking over your programming because I don't think you're doing your job right, and you're here for 4 hours, and I'm leaving. By the way, can you play it next? I'm leaving. It's it's how they approach you and what exactly the critique is. Online people are brave when they have time to sit and put it into words. They'll generate paragraphs about how terrible something is, and you can often pass that aside with a wave if you just say, well, you don't have all the facts, and now you got to do a dissertation to explain why their opinion is wrong. And opinions are just that. But if they're going to personally attack you, I think it's a little different. If it's a hater of the person, like I don't like you and I don't like the music you're playing. That's like
Right.
how do you respond to that? There's
Right.
nothing. I don't think you could take anything constructive out of that.
No, you're right. It's not constructive. It doesn't mean there's not something to it, but the way it was presented is not constructive, and it doesn't help you. If you ever want to give anybody criticism, I think a really good way to do it is to approach it in a friendly way and not in a way that's going to put someone on the defense. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes no matter what you say to somebody, no matter how nice you try to say it to them, they get defensive because they know everything. You can't tell them anything. You'll have that, but I think most of the time, if you use some tact and you really do have some genuine criticism for somebody that's constructive, if they don't take it, then they don't take it. Then they're kind of hating on you at that point, I think. But
I agree. It's mirror. The speed and the velocity they come at you with something is kind of going to shape your reply because you're going to come back with the same kind of energy.
Yeah.
So it's hey, have you ever thought about trying this or offering a solution is better than just telling somebody that they're terrible at something, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not constructive. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add to this or any thoughts or anything?
Well, Brian, one of the things is that, again, people sometimes may not understand how to give constructive criticism. They just want to criticize. Yeah. And they may not understand that they have an idea, they have a thought, but maybe they can't phrase it correctly. So it comes off as evil, mean, and this bad thing when they're trying to say, hey, I see a problem. I want to help you. I'm not trying to be mean, but this is what I'm seeing. And this is my thought. And they may not understand what they're trying to basically build or say, but you got to look at the whole entire sentence and say, what are they trying to say completely?
Yeah, I do that a lot, like with social media for me, with my videos or anything that I post. I'll see comments sometimes. I have to read them a couple times to figure out that they're not really trying to be nasty, but because they have no tact and they didn't craft their sentence very well, it sounds bad. I have to walk away from those comments for 20 minutes and then come back to them. And I'm thinking that Jay experiences this a lot in the forums that he monitors.
I have to say, an in-person comment, which we've all had, the, hey, nobody's dancing and no one likes this song thing. And I've many times just done that, and they'll turn around and go, well, yeah, I mean, everyone's dancing, but I really want to hear this. I'm like, okay, is that a good way to ask me? And I'll say that at a wedding 100% of the time.
Right.
And they'll suddenly catch themselves and be like, oh, well, I just really want to hear the song. I'm like, let me play a few other songs first, and I'll do my best to get to them.
Okay, so
you're not going to ruin my night. I'm not going to let your negativity and your issues and whatever you have in your life, God love you, but that's your problem, not mine. I'm not going to show up tomorrow morning and knock, the freaking tools out of your hand while you make my McMuffin and try to take over at your McDonald's. So I'm not going to let you do it to me. It's a give and get. When it comes,
you can't let them live rent free in your head.
No, not at all. It's because it's not personal.
Yeah,
you're a drunk idiot at a wedding, and you really are convinced that Slayer is the only way to go. You're showing all your cards. You're probably out on a day pass. I mean, you're not leaving, going back to the mansion with the hot wife like I am. You're going back to the basement, and mom's going to toss you down some chicken nuggets, and your life is good.
Ketchup.
But when it comes to online, and this is something I think you need to pay attention to, because it just happened last week and the week before. You need to understand, if your name is on your account, which it has to be, or a facsimile of it on Meta, which is Instagram and Facebook, and you go off on a tangent on somebody, they're going to click on your name, and they're going to see where you are, who you're friends with, and all of that. And I had somebody, just as Brian said, make some really derogatory comments, clicked on their name, and realized, I know this cat. They're local to my area.
Yeah.
And they wanted to do a thing. And now that thing is dead.
Right.
And they've since gotten in touch with me like, hey man, I want to talk about those gigs. I'm like, I've decided we're not a good fit. We're not going to go down that road together. So good luck with everything, man. I wish you the best, but yeah, we're done. Oh, I thought we were going to start doing these gigs. No need to explain. This may sound terrible, guys, and it might give some insight into just how dark this black can get. You have a bad experience at a restaurant. Don't complain to anybody. Don't tell the manager. Don't write a letter. Don't say a word. Let the rest of the world suffer by the bad service and food because they'll eventually get shut down.
Yeah. Just don't go
You
back.
tell them they can correct the problem. If you don't, they're going to go down in flames.
So how about you, Kevin? Are you as dark as Jay on this one? Or are you a man?
It
Been a tough week, Jay.
day.
I could understand if they come at you, you get defensive immediately.
Yeah.
Because they didn't come at you with constructive criticism.
Right.
You know, it's like, and I had a little bit of that the other night. Actually, it was a great night, but I was at a lower BPM and they had written down some songs. Like, oh, I want to hear that one. I was like, I'm not jumping from 80 up to 130. You know, I'm not doing that. And then I was the other way around. So, you know, it's, I understand that. I am probably my own worst critic. You know, like if something doesn't work right, I don't need someone to point it out to me. Like, you know, the microphones were working perfectly. Then the next toast I did, and the guy was actually closer. It was sort of doing a choppy audio. So it's like, I don't know why I was doing that other than the fact there was sodium lights that were all causing interference with my speakers. So, you know, I'm my own worst critic. You know, I sort of do a play-by-play analysis of, you know, every event. So I understand criticism because I give myself a lot of criticism.
Sure.
So I take it. I sort of, sometimes it makes me stew. But eventually I sort of like, okay, yeah, I'll sort of agree with that. Like one of the DJs I work with, he says, I'm too chatty when I'm on the mic. And it's like, well, I'm just trying to be informative. And he said, you need to keep it short because people have a short attention span. But, you know, so it's like, but he's also been on the radio and he probably is used to doing everything with a time limit.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that's the good example of, you know, your first instinct, even if it's something that someone's trying to, you know, offer constructive criticism, sometimes our first reaction is defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put you on defense.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us as adults to, I guess, be self-aware when we do that.
Yeah.
Or at least be able to go back and say, oh, you know what? I got defensive there. I need to consider what that person said. That doesn't mean they're right. That doesn't mean that you need to do exactly what they said to do. It simply means that it's something to consider. It wasn't done to attack you. It wasn't done to disrespect you. It was offered as an olive branch. But
Yeah, I mean,
at the time, we may not have realized it. It's hard sometimes.
So perhaps both of you could have handled it better. Is that what you're saying, basically? You know?
Well, sometimes yes, sometimes no. I mean, sometimes the person who came at you was perfectly cool, and you know they said what they said in a very tactful way. Yet we have an idea of how we think things should be done. We don't want to be wrong. So when we're told that we've done something wrong or we're doing something incorrectly or we could improve on what we're doing, yeah, I mean, we're out there trying to do what we're doing. We're trying to be professional, and we may get defensive of our approach. But
well, that's the thing. It's like we started to say. It's all about their articulation. It's how they came to with it, and take a step back and say, what are they actually trying to say? It's all muddled in words that don't matter. But what is the point? What are they really trying to get through to you? And then maybe you can just look at it, you know, in a kinder light and make adjustments of your light or sound or aesthetic or whatever. But you got to just take a step back sometimes and realize it may not be personal. It's just, you know, your lights, I can't see. You know, it's like, what's with the lights? It's like you come up that way because you're already irritated before you would even get the, you know, need to go up and tell somebody that. So you're already coming up hot, you know? Right. So it's like, oh, well, let me go where you are and like, Wow, you're right. You're not kidding. Let me adjust that a little bit so that it's not coming at you the whole time.
One other thing also on this is that sometimes, especially with social media, and some people reach out further than others, is you may have someone from another country, English may not be their first language, and they're trying to communicate something with you, and they're trying to use a translator, or they're trying to use English that they know and understand and not form a sentence correctly and think in whatever language you're thinking in, not in how we think in English, and say, hey, this is bad, this is wrong. When they're trying to say, hey, this is not the way I would do it, this is the way maybe try this, and try to be helpful, but they can't, basically come along and make a sentence correctly.
No, you're right.
And
you're right. You're right. I mean, or they use the wrong word. And somebody one time, it doesn't matter who, English is not their first language. And they said, you know what I love about you? I'm like, what's that? I said, I love your arrogance. What? He was trying to say confidence.
Oh.
But he screwed it up. But for about 2 minutes, I'm thinking he's telling me that I'm arrogant, and I certainly don't try to come across as arrogant. So here I am trying to think, what have I said to this man to make him think I'm arrogant? Or what have I done? Or what have I put out there that would suggest that I'm arrogant? But no, he meant confidence. He just got the words mixed up. But yeah, happens. Damon, I save you for last because you're leaning, you're thinking, and I'm letting you absorb it, and you've got things to say on this.
No, I mean, you guys pretty much said it all. Like John and Jay said it best. When people are coming up to you, talking about, can you play something else? Because, this is not working. It's a packed the dance floor. I get that all the time at some of my events because, I may be the man with the darkest tan there playing some of my events. And they come up to me like, do you really enjoy playing this? And I'm like, well, yes, I do. I got a packed dance floor. I'm having a great time right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, and I get it from all ways, I even get it on social media sometimes too. So.
Well, I do think that sometimes when someone comes up and it even says the ridiculous thing that you hear all the time, no one's dancing. No one wants to hear this. They want to hear this instead.
Right.
Packed dance floor. Okay. As rotten as that was to say and the way it was approached, maybe if you reworded that in your head, I can see the dance floor is packed right now. I think I want to hear this song that I think will also pack the dance floor.
Yeah, I agree.
Later, maybe this would be a good idea for you. So you almost have to do that, translate in your head from crappy drunk to nice constructive.
Oh, that's it. I heard what you said. What did you mean? Right.
Right, exactly.
I heard the words that came out of your mouth, but they're a little disconnected here with what.
Gobbledygoo.
Yeah.
The other line is, you know what you got to do coming out of this song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for programming for me. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Right. Yeah.
Or my favorite is, I'm also a DJ, and I think you should mix this with this. Yeah. I'm like,
well, that's
okay,
why
thank you.
You brought me back. I have to say this real quick. If you are an actual professional DJ who does gigs, don't ever, ever, ever go up to a DJ and try and tell them what to do. You're showing that you're not very good. Because true professionals, unless they've been drinking, will sit back and just enjoy the night.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you out of the gate, sober, run up to, and I've had it happen to me, and I've said to people flat out, oh, I'm a DJ too. And you're telling me what to do? Like, if you were so good, why aren't you? I've done this in Vegas 100 times. Hey, you guys should hire me. I'm local. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm really good. I'm like, so am I. They brought me in from California. I flew down. Next week, I'm in Houston and Florida. It's not personal. They just want what I'm doing. That's cool. Maybe I want the car they have, but I'm not going to tell them that.
Right.
But if you're really a DJ, I had John Digweed at a wedding I DJ'd, 16 years ago, 15 years ago. He came up, looked at my setup, said, wow, great setup, and you're doing a great job, and walked away.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have to do anything. He was courteous, and he was a professional. I mean, I don't think anyone in this room is going to go up unless somebody's dying. unless you can just tell they are sweating bullets because they don't know what to do,
Yeah.
and you want to bail them out, that's a great thing to do. But if they're doing their gig, let them do their gig. Make notes. You think you're that great? Make some notes. Like, man, I would have mixed Usher with this. I would have done that. But keep it to yourself. Make it on your phone. Or enjoy the company of your girl or guy or whoever you're with.
No, agreed.
Exactly.
And just have a good time.
In the video I did today, I was talking about how when I first started, I would watch other DJs and I would pay attention to two things: what I liked and what I didn't like.
Yeah.
Or what I would do different. And it's not that I would dismiss everything they did. There are things they did that I genuinely liked, but I would think to myself, if I were doing it, how would I change it? What would I say different? What other types of music would I play? But I kept that to myself.
Yeah.
So even as a young teenager, I kept that to myself. So good advice.
You do that now, I'm sure. I do that every day I'm on Instagram. I am watching for DJs with mixes and I am taking them and I am going, that will work. I'm going to use that. I saw an interview with DJ Vice, who is well into his career, had a great career so far. And he brought up to the guys on the show, you guys use Auto Shazam? He goes to a club or anywhere. He hits his phone, tap it once, hold it, Auto Shazam for the night. He's constantly, just like us, trying to learn new music, trying to see.
You can never know it all.
You can't know it all. The day you know it all, you disagree with me on this, but the day you're not anxious about it is the day you don't care. And the day you know it all is the day you quit. Because if you know it all, there's no point in doing this job. The fun of this job is
I don't disagree with you. I just don't don't walk into events with butterflies on my stomach.
I don't either. But if I don't walk in a little anxious that I
care,
want to do well,
but I'm confident that I'll do well.
I'm confident I'll do well.
I took the job.
But I understand that the biggest variable in the room is not me. But I also understand that I have the most control in the room. And I need to call on all of my talent and skills for the night to make sure things go the way that the client wants them to go and the way I've promised them. And to me, that causes, whether it's anxiety or nervousness, I'm not sick, I don't have butterflies, but I care to do a good job. So
I do too.
The way I approach, you and I have talked about this. My approach is
we are all going to Disneyland. We're just taking different routes. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
And no reason to gaslight here, James.
But if I went,
Brian doesn't care when he goes to his events.
No, I'm not. But I'm saying, no. I didn't say he didn't care. I'm saying
he doesn't even get nervous. He just goes.
Don't do it in the way that I do it. And the day I have a gig that I don't feel that way, I won't do the gig and I'll quit.
Right.
Because that means that it's gone past. Yeah. I don't care as much. Me. I'm not talking about you, John, or anyone else.
There's confidence and there's arrogance, I guess. There's a
very thin line between the two, though.
Exactly. Depending on what Spaniard you're talking to. Right. So we've got about 10 minutes left, something like that. And John and Eric wanted to talk a little karaoke with us and give us some karaoke advice. Well, so I'm going to turn it over to John and let him do that.
Yeah, for sure. Just to let the viewers know that in addition to DJs, there's a lot of the karaoke people here, or some do both. Some DJ will do weddings, but they also run regular karaoke shifts. Eric here is one that's local to me.
Eric goes both ways.
Kevin's a DJ and also karaoke, and we've even got Matt in the wings here, and he's also a karaoke jack.
That was supposed to be funny, guys. Come on. I got nothing.
I used to go both ways. That's all behind.
Okay. Okay. All right.
$20 is $20. It's what that comes in type of deal. Yeah. So we were talking a little bit as just to some of the challenges that the karaoke people had, and we don't get into it in here too much because some of us don't do it at all, and it's just kind of a Tuesday or Wednesday night thing that we don't attend. But I wanted to maybe give the floor to Eric and Kevin and Matt if he wants to turn his mic on. Depends on how crazy his house is at the moment. For some karaoke things that maybe are some of the challenges that you could give us as a group and see if there's anything we can work through.
I know that one thing that you would. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Brian, please.
No, one thing that John was talking about.
I was going to say that the specific thing was just if you have someone who's challenged as a singer, or perhaps they're singing a song that doesn't suit them, and they come back week after week after week after week, and you really want to lead them in another direction, would you pull that person aside and say, this may be a better choice for you. Would you give this a shot? And
Maybe
help
Grandpa
him win
tells
the
about
day.
the good old days isn't the song for you.
You know, or he comes in every week and sings Frank Sinatra to a room full of 20-year-olds, and they're just kind of like, time for pops to hang it up. It's you want everybody, you want the inclusion, and you want the the things that you can do to help stitch the night together better, like a DJ does. Because with your requests as a karaoke jock, it's so random. It's Tanya Tucker, and then it's Marilyn Manson, and then it's a Johnny Cash tune, and then someone wants to sing NSYNC, and it's like, how do you make sense of that? So I'd like to give it to Kevin or Eric, whoever wants to maybe give us some ideas as to how you
Kevin, you
find sanity.
Kevin, you're ready. You can go first.
You probably know a lot more than I do. You're a more grizzled veteran than I am.
Go on, Grizzly. Tell us about it.
I'll just say this. I get this one guy at one of my local shows that can't sing. He screams. And I've made it a joke now at every show to where I'll apologize for him before he sings. And people laugh. And
damage control.
That's it.
But, John, I got props and stuff for my shows.
Yeah.
And I've recently added a pair of, those things you put in your ears when you're driving the lawnmower, the noise.
Oh, you're running a jackhammer thing, like the muffle, noise canceling headphones.
So as soon as he starts singing, I'll put them on, and the whole audience just laughs.
So here you go, guys, enjoy this, and then you throw your silence things on, right? Yeah.
Oh, it's great. And then I'll take them off and I'll put them on him as he's singing. I mean, so I kind of, it's more of a joke now, and people will just go with that,
And is he self-aware, or does he think he's the best thing since sliced bread? Like he knows it's hokey, right?
He likes to do this song called I don't know, Fire by Fran something or whatever, and he's terrible at it. So I've been making him do tequila. One word.
Yeah.
And everybody loves it because it's funny. Yeah. And I'll shut his mic off because he wants to gab before he has to say tequila,
Maybe you could do the hustle next,
Yeah.
But as far as, listen, not everybody is perfect at a karaoke show. Let's face it, you're not on The Voice. You're not on,
Right.
You're right, Eric. I mean, that's half the fun is just the mayhem and the chaos.
The way I look at it, if you're going to come every week and you're going to drink and you're going to support me because they're supporting me.
Right.
They're paying my salary. I'm going to put you behind that mic. I don't care what you do, as long as it's not offensive, And there are people where I would say that's not your key, Try something else. But you know what? It's all they know. Some people.
Yeah. I can tell you that you're doing this like multiple places every week. This is what
4 nights a week right now. I just picked up a 4th night.
Sean's got a situation right now in his domestic dwelling where his mother's got the TV cranked up, so he's sitting this one out. But he does too. He's always at a different place every night. That's what he does. He's a karaoke host. I can't tell you that I've never done it. In fact, I hosted karaoke for a private event 2-3 months ago. And I can tell you from my point of view, just because I'm in and out, it's not like I'm ever going to see these people again. I'm concerned about feedback. I'm concerned about having the tracks and volumes. And it's a technical job for me. Anything above and beyond just making sure everything works, I'm not even concerned about. Is that the wrong approach?
Well, no, it's not the wrong approach. Of course, you don't want feedback. Of course, you want to have the track that you want to sing. And yes, you're constantly, if you care about what you're doing, on that board, you have to adjust everybody.
You got to adjust their sound. Yeah, I'm mic teching is what I'm doing.
Right,
pretty much.
Exactly.
I'm an audio / microphone tech.
I do remember your post after you did that show, and you said I was more of a tech than anything else that night. And you're absolutely right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I understand. I get it. I'm hearing what you guys are saying, and it makes sense. But every time that I have done this, and I'll do it once in a while. I've done it several times. Like this decade, I've done it several times.
Mm.
I don't feel like I have control of anything else besides the audio. what they sing, how they sing, what goes together, what's in tune. I feel like I've lost all control of that. And there's nothing I can reasonably do to have it make sense. But what I can do is give them good sound. That's all I feel like I can do. It
That's
sounds like
100%. That's 100% accurate.
Well, that's what
You don't know how they're
start
going
out
to sing.
doing.
Go ahead, Kevin.
No, that's what he should start out doing. Is you want to make it sound crystal great, crystal clear, whatever. You want it to sound great. Then you start incorporating some of what Eric does with his
right.
tech. And that's what I'm starting to do more of. It's like one of the things is when the next person comes up to sing, I grabbed a song from The Price is Right for Come On Down.
Yeah, buffer music. Yeah.
So I'm doing some creative things, coming up with some jingles and some shtick. I'll say it, and you add it to make it a more rounded, enjoyable show for everybody. You're also encouraging everybody to come up. You also say it's a judgment-free zone. Everybody's here to support each other.
Oh, there's
We're
always
have a good time.
That's true.
You know?
Right.
So that's what I try to do.
I got one last thing to add, and then you can put a fork in it if you want.
Sure.
With like what you guys were saying, you got to have these bad singers here and there, you know. And then Kevin and Brian just brought up bumper music. I will bring up like a banger that everybody knows after a bad singer. After every singer, I'm not going to lie. I bring up music and it just gets everybody involved. They start singing and dancing. And then I'll slowly bring up that next singer, you know? And if they're really getting into it, I'll let the whole thing go. I don't care, you know? And
here's something real interesting that I didn't think of until you said it just right now. I did it and I didn't even think about what I was doing and why I was doing it. When I did that last karaoke job, they were so wasted. It was a younger crowd. They were from out of town professionals and living their best life out of town at a convention. They were wasted. And it was so hard to get their attention that I did not play buffer music because the only way I could get their attention was dead silence. What the DJ doesn't want to do because it's like, what's going on? That's the only way I could get their attention. If I had buffer music playing, it would almost been more difficult for me to keep the evening rolling.
To me, it's easier with the bump.
Well, you always want to have some kind of noise, something, even if you're just talking, making an announcement, something behind you so it's not just dry vocal, you know, that's...
Years ago, I used to just use my voice in between singers.
Yeah.
I'll announce hey, give it up for our bartenders. Don't forget to tip them. Don't forget the food. The kitchen's open till whatever, you know.
Some future activities going on.
But it gets old. It gets old. And you run out of things to say in between. That's why I started using a bumper music. I would still make those announcements, but I would have bumper music with and then turn it up, you know?
All right. It's another vein we can tap into, just that if we do have watchers that are karaoke jocks and they feel like we're not ever shining any light on them, like we do know a little bit about that stuff. So if you have questions, you can put them in the comments. Best practices. I mean, Bill, and he's got two other guys that do karaoke. I've gone with him, but I don't host it. It's just not my thing. And some of you guys, a lot of times, if there's a DJ involved, the karaoke jock will be separate, or there'll be a trivia section, and then the DJ is separate. So I took Bill out to see one of my longtime friends, DJ Paul, that's from around here, and he's actually written his own software that when a singer comes up, he already knows he's got stuff that he can key up that will change the pitch of a song. It'll change the dynamics of the microphone. So when you're really invested in it, I guess you can really take care of your regular. Try to do what you can. It's not depend on mic and go. I mean, but since he's done it so many times every week and fixed everybody that he said, you know what, I'm just going to start saving these settings. I'm going to be able to recall this when they come up and hand him a mic and make.
I can change the key of the songs, no problem.
But he's creating it customized to each.
Customized with reverb, the amount of gate, you know, just the stuff that he's
so he saved it in his program.
Yep,
like
under their name.
This key and whatever.
So when they come up and the name shows up, the computer already knows what the setting is, and that'll load when he says this person singing, and it'll just patch right in and it'll change.
It'd be like the equivalent of like the customized car seats. you know, your number one setting.
Yeah, memory setting. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it moves to your perfect position, and then the other one would be like number 2. It's basically like that. It's customized for each person.
So there's stuff that can be done, but if anyone has karaoke questions, just drop them in the comments for the video, and that might be something we can come back and revisit.
This
So
is
we just wanted to touch on it.
The advanced class.
Not the karaoke for
That's some good karaoke advice right there. That's going above and beyond. And I guess DJing can be the same thing. Some people are like a Spotify playlist, and some people DJ. Some people are like me as karaoke guys. Some people are like you guys as karaoke guys who actually know what you're doing. So, yeah,
appreciate a couple of minutes just to bounce it around and just see if anyone had any thoughts. And
sure,
yeah,
we're here for you.
Matt. We are here to help. So whether you're running trivia or DJing or karaoke or anything, or even just running front of house sound, you know,
yeah, it's
everybody knows something.
So thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time. We'll see you tomorrow night. Well, sort of. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, and they'll see us whenever they see us. Anyway.
Sponsors.
Yeah, we are sponsored tonight, like we are every night, by DJ Event Planner. Check them out in the description of this video, as well as our other sponsors, because we got other ones too, and they're down there.